Hi guys, welcome back to the channel. FPL Consult here, and in today's video I'm going to share with you guys my 10 favorite FPL differentials for game week 1. Usually when we build our squads for game week 1, we would tend to start with maybe 1 or 2 differentials to set us apart from the pack. So hopefully this video is helpful for those of you guys looking for about 1 or 2 differentials to start your season with. If you do enjoy this video and you find it useful, please do drop a like and also subscribe as well if you are new around here. So before we jump into the video, all of the stats as well as the heat maps etc. is taken from Fantasy Football Hub for today's video. If you guys are interested in all this, you can check out the first link in the description. Fantasy Football Hub is running a 50% off at the moment, and there's loads of useful tools as well, so do check it out if you are interested. Now let's jump straight into this video, and the first player I want to talk about is Szobo Bailey. He's currently very low owned at the moment, 2.4% ownership, and he's only at 6.5 million, which is miles cheaper, a full 6 million cheaper than Mohamed Salah. So he provides a cheaper entry, a much cheaper entry into the Liverpool attack. Recently he scored a goal against Real Betis. In that game he scored the goal and Salah got the assist. That was the only goal of the game that Liverpool won 1-0. But I think what draws me to Szobo Bailey at the moment is what kind of Arne Slot said after the game, right? During the post-match press conference. Arne Slot said, he said, during this season, I quote, "You will see us play with a real striker, but at this moment we have no one available." So that's basically because Darwin Núñez and all these other players like Cody Gakpo as well, they're all, they were away for international duty. They're kind of taking a rest right now. They're not with the team for the tour in the USA. So basically, at this moment, they don't have a playing number 9, so that's why what they've done in that game was to play with 2 number 10s, which is Szobo Bailey and Harvey Elliott against Real Betis. But what he also alluded to is that this is where Szobo Bailey and Harvey Elliott are likely going to play as well, because he says, so we put them in the position that they will play during the season as well, right? Referring to Szobo Bailey and Harvey Elliott. So that is kind of one of the reasons why I like Szobo Bailey's prospect going into the start of the season, because in general, when we look at how he played last season, he was kind of used more of as a centre mid. He didn't really venture that far in to the box. As we look at his heat map, he didn't really enter the box that much, and he did have some form of defensive duties as well. When we see in the defensive half, there is some form of activity for him where he took quite a number of touches in there as well. So with him playing number 10, I think we're going to see a lot of changes here. Yes, he took a lot of shots last season, but there was majority of the shots were outside the box. You see only 16 shots in the box, and actually 44 shots were outside the box. So I think with him playing number 10, just behind the striker, I do foresee that in that scenario, he's going to get a lot of better quality chances, and that would obviously lead to more goals. So we've seen him play in the number 10 role for teams like Hungary, when he's away for international duty, and even in his previous clubs as well. He has ventured very, very far forward, and I think his finishing is pretty strong. You look at the shots that he's taken, the quality of his striking, I fully back him with better quality chances to get more goal involvements. So I really do think like Szobo Bailey at 2.4% ownership is a real gem that could be a very massive differential for us to go for from game week 1. Now let's move over to Leon Bailey right now, and I know a lot of the talk surrounding Aston Villa's attackers have gone to Ollie Watkins. He's actually the highest owned player despite him being priced at 9 million. He's currently 56.7% owned as of recording. So basically a lot of attention has gone there, and pretty much Leon Bailey only has 4.5% ownership. But let's not forget the incredible season that Leon Bailey had, right? He had 35 appearances and he had double-digit goals and assists, 10 goals and 11 assists. The numbers that he put out throughout the season as well are very, very convincing. Lots of shots in the box, right? A large percentage of his shots are actually in the box, so he gets quality chances as well. And you see his heat map, he generally is a player that likes to venture very far in, cutting in from the right wing and taking shots on his left. So I really do like Leon Bailey because the quality, we know he has it. One of the main reasons why he wasn't as as big of an FPL option last season was because of Moussa Diaby. There was a period of time when Diaby was starting and Leon Bailey wasn't. There was a bit of rotation going on there, but obviously with the latest news that Diaby is going to Saudi Arabia now, that only is good news for Leon Bailey because his expected minutes definitely goes up. I do expect him to be the starting right wing because of that, and with the security of minutes, we're gonna get a really good attacking player in a side that has shown to be very strong in attack, Aston Villa, and it's only for 6.5 million. I think this price tag is something that potentially has chased some people away because at 0.5 million more, you can get Eze at 7 million, right? Basically, Eze is a penalty taker. You compare like for like, I think some people are tending towards Eze. But that's kind of why people are forgetting about Leon Bailey. I think at this price tag, he has risen in price for sure. Is he going to justify 6.5 million? Obviously, it remains to be seen. But I think if you want to take a gamble, I think this is very well a player that could pop off from the get-go as well. Aston Villa's fixtures are pretty good from the start of the season as well. Yes, they do have a tough fixture. I think in Game Week 3 or Game Week 4, they have Arsenal. But aside from that, I think it looks really, really good for Leon Bailey. So if you are looking for a differential, a midfielder that's low owned, Leon Bailey is also someone to go for. Now let's take a look at the other picks. So next up, we have another two midfielders. Now one is Morgan Rogers at 5 million, also playing for Aston Villa, and another is Morgan Gibbs-White at 6.5 million, who is playing for Nottingham Forest, of course. So let's talk about Morgan Rogers first. Staying on the Aston Villa hype, I think in general we saw how good of an attack they are, and obviously, as I've mentioned, Diaby is going now. There will be someone having to come in on that left side as well. Yes, obviously, Aston Villa do have other options, but for the time being, it's looking as if it's going to be Leon Bailey on the right and Morgan Rogers on the left. Obviously, he's not super secure for minutes. There is more concern here with Rogers' minutes as compared to Leon Bailey's minutes, but I do like the way that Rogers has kind of adapted to his role. As we saw in the later part of last season, he really came into this Aston Villa side and established himself as a starter. I mean, 3 goals and 1 assist, and looking at the number of appearances he made, I think that is pretty much 1 attacking return in, slightly more than 2 games. So very impressive numbers there, considering that was kind of his first season where he was getting slightly more regular minutes towards the end of the season. He does take a good number of shots. He's had 11 shots last season in 11 appearances, so that's pretty much a shot a game. 9 of them are in the box as well, so those are quality chances that most of the time either he creates for himself or the Aston Villa attackers are the ones providing the assist for him. So I do like it. And his expected goal numbers, as you see there, 1.35, not great, but he still managed to get 3 goals. So there is a bit of over performance there. But as you've seen in preseason as well, he does have the quality to keep up those numbers as well. So I do like it that Morgan Rogers, only at 5 million, right, is an option that we can consider. He has started majority of the preseason games. And again, he is someone that if it happens not to start, right, he's just 5 million, you can just leave him on the bench. It will not be the end of the world as well. So only at 6.6% ownership, Morgan Rogers, someone we should consider. Now next up is Morgan Gibbs-White. Much more secure for minutes, but he's obviously more expensive due to that kind of security. 6.5 million. Now what Morgan Gibbs-White kind of offers is security of minutes is 1. He's also on all set pieces. You look at the corner heat maps there, just above me. He's on all set pieces, whether it's left-sided or right-sided corners. He's on free kicks. He's also on penalties. So at 6.5 million, you see, this is another reason why maybe Leon Bailey is not as popular as Morgan Gibbs-White, because Gibbs-White has penalties, and penalties is a crucial aspect of choosing an FPL asset as well. You look at his numbers as well. Appearances 37, he's pretty much nailed. The moment he's fit, he always starts, and he's generally someone that does not get injured easily. He takes loads of shots, 71 shots, half of them are in the box as well, so quality chances, and he does create a good number of chances for Nottingham Forest as well. He is kind of the glue in that Nottingham Forest attack. Created 16 big chances, and he himself picked up 8 big chances as well. So very, very lovely as an asset. I think Morgan Gibbs-White is someone we should consider. I'm just having a look at the fixtures now for Nottingham Forest, and I did mention in a couple of previous videos as well that I really like Nottingham Forest's fixtures. So let me just pull it up here if I can get it up, and basically their fixtures are really good. It's Bournemouth in the first game week, Southampton in the second game week, and Wolves in the third game week. So a good set of first 3 fixtures. Then they have Liverpool in game week 4, slightly tougher, but after that is Brighton and then Fulham, followed by Chelsea in game week 7, and then Crystal Palace in game week 8. So basically in the first 8 game weeks, their only tough fixtures I feel from an attacking standpoint is Chelsea away in game week 7 and Liverpool away in game week 4. Aside from that, the rest of the 6 fixtures look really good for an 8 game week perspective. And in general, by then, maybe most of us are already wildcarding out of our original teams. A lot of information could have come in, but I think to start the season off with someone who offers penalties, set pieces, guarantee of minutes, and good fixtures, only at 6.5 million, and he's so low owned that he can be a good differential for us, I think Morgan Gibbs-White is definitely someone that should come across our minds as well. So I have a couple of defenders here. The first one is Andy Robertson and followed by Daniel Munoz. Now to talk about Andy Robertson first, he is someone that has not appeared in a lot of people's drafts. He is only 6.4% owned at the moment, and this has come down to, I think, a lot of it being the worry about his minutes going into the new season, and that's precisely because he's getting old. Currently his performances also not as consistent as it was under Jurgen Klopp. So basically there are ready-made replacements for him. This Kostas Tsimikas could come in. If Liverpool do play an inverted formation where Trent goes into the midfield, then Robertson will be playing as a left-sided centre-back. Not good for attacking threat, and also there are other replacements who could play as a left-sided centre-back. So in general, I would say if we put that threat aside, the X minutes threat aside, I think Robertson is obviously the next best attacking defender to go for. When we look at the data from last season, he got 3 goals and 2 assists. He is obviously not as good as Trent, but his numbers are really not too far off, and that 1 million cost saving could go very far when we look at the pricing of the FPL players this season, right? So if we can't get Trent into a team at 7 million, I think Robertson at 6 million, if we can assure his minutes and we are okay to gamble there, he is someone at 6 million who could provide cheaper entry into that Liverpool defense. And the fixtures obviously are really good for Liverpool. They are top of the fixture ticker for the first 6 game weeks, and they obviously play Ipswich in the first game. So Robertson, definitely someone that could kick on with a good start to the season, provided we are certain of his minutes. Now looking at Daniel Munoz, who's the next option, he is also someone that has come into the fray a lot in the later part of last season. He was obviously only signed towards the later half of the season. He made 16 appearances, and in those 16 appearances, he racked up 8 shots and he got 4 assists. So he is someone that I think when we look at him play, he really passes the eye test. I mean, he is the most creative defender in the Crystal Palace team, much more creative than someone like a Mitchell. And the heat map that you can see right above me here shows how far forward he ventures as a right back. So I really do like it. At 5 million, he is more expensive than players like Anderson or players like Gehi. He is definitely 0.5 more expensive, and that could go a long way in maybe even upgrading our bench options. But if we do have that spare cash and we can reach to 5 million, I do like Daniel Munoz as an option for the Crystal Palace defense, who obviously have looked much better under Oliver Glasner as well. So Crystal Palace actually are the top 3 defenses once Glasner took over. So really confident of their clean sheet potential, which is a key factor this season considering the changes to the bonus points as well. So I like Daniel Munoz as an option if you can reach for him. 4.5%, he's a good differential to go for. So next up, another set of defenders here, and it's Anthony Robinson and Valentin Barco. So let's talk about Robinson first. We've seen last season how far he ventures forward for Fulham, right? I mean, he's given the license to go so far forward, as we can see in the heat map there, and he has taken 16 shots, 7 on target, and he even managed 6 assists last season. So we know he is a defender that is not afraid to go venture forward and put in those crosses, and he does look very, very defensively solid as well as a player. In terms of the general defense for Fulham, yes, they are not the best defense by any means. Even in the mid-tier defenses, they are also not up there with, compared to teams like Crystal Palace. I definitely rate the Crystal Palace defense better than the Fulham defense. But for the appeal for Anthony Robertson, I think it comes because he's only 4.5 million, and he provides good rotation with teams like Brighton, teams like Aston Villa. There's good rotation that can be had with this Fulham defense. So it's not as if you have to play Anthony Robertson every week. You can play him when he has good fixtures, and obviously I like the threat that he has. So at 5.1% ownership, he's definitely someone that is on the radar for that 4.5 million price tag. Now next up, it's Valentin Barco, also a very attacking defender, as we can see. Only at 4 million though, so he is 0.5 million cheaper, and he could be, I feel, one of the go-to 4.0 million bench for the options that we can have, because he is likely going to be a starter for Brighton when we see at the start of the season, because Estupiñán is only going to be back sometime in September, so around the game week 6 to game week 7 period. So Barco is expected to start the season at left back, and he does venture forward quite often. We've seen in preseason already, he's not afraid to go far forward, similar to how Estupiñán also ventures very far forward. But Barco has a different set of threat here. He is on set pieces. He seems to be on corners, as what we've seen from preseason. Last season as well, as we can see from the heat map there, he did take a couple of corners too. So the corners look really dangerous. I mean, he has a quality cross in him as well. And I do like that, combined with this overall package of him liking to venture forward and not being afraid to take shots, at 4 million only into the Brighton attack, I really do rate him as a player. So let me know in the comments down below if you are going for Valentin Barco as your 4.0 million defender. So to end off the video, I have two strikers for you guys. The first one is Rodrigo Muniz, playing for Fulham at 6 million, and the other is Chris Wood, also at 6 million, playing for Nottingham Forest. So when I look at these two players, firstly, they are very cheap, and they provide similar kind of player profiles where they are the out and out number 9 for their teams. Fixtures wise, Chris Wood's fixtures, as I've mentioned, for Nottingham Forest are really, really good. And Rodrigo Munoz, yes, he starts the season with a slightly tougher fixture, but after that, when you look at the longer term fixtures, maybe about an 8 to 10 game week horizon for Fulham, it is really not too bad at all. So I really do think like Rodrigo Munoz is a player that should be considered as well as with Chris Wood. So let's talk about Muniz first. When we look at him as a player, it's 9 goals and 2 assists in 26 appearances last season. You look at how he plays, the quality he possesses, the finishes that he can kind of pull off, you definitely back him as a finisher. He's a very prolific scorer. And the numbers also back it up. I mean, he got an expected goal numbers of 8.76, and he therefore got 9 goals. So there's really no overperformance here. He did get those quality chances, and he did put them away, as every clinical striker should. The only difference between Rodrigo Muniz and maybe Chris Wood is that I think Rodrigo Munoz is more likely to start for Fulham week in, week out, where Chris Wood is slightly under threat from Taiwo Awoniyi, who seems to be back in fitness already. So basically, the minutes, I would say I tend to side Rodrigo Munoz here, but for Chris Wood, I think his numbers are much better. It's 14 goals and 1 assist for him. Expected goal numbers as well is higher for him in 11.71 expected goals. So basically, I do like that Chris Wood is someone that's getting good chances. He's got 23 big chances as compared to Rodrigo Muniz only getting 12 big chances. So he's getting better supply for Chris Wood, but again, with a slightly trickier minutes to kind of dabble with there. So both of them are very low owned. 5.2% for Muniz, 4.6% for Chris Wood. It is tricky to decide which one to go for, but if I'm to kind of pick one, I'm likely to go with Muniz because of the slightly safer expected minutes. Again, if you can't reach these players at the 6 million price tag, then you obviously can go for someone like João Pedro at 5.5 million, likely to be on penalties for Brighton if he's fit to start the season. And then there's also Armstrong, 5.5 million at Southampton as well. So a couple of cheaper strikers in this price bracket, but if you are able to reach 6 million, I like these two options, and Rodrigo Muniz would probably be my favorite one out of the two. So let me know your thoughts down in the comments below of any of these players. Are you going for them in your game week 1 drafts? I'd be keen to know. But if not, hopefully you guys enjoyed this video. If you did, please drop a like and also subscribe as well if you are new around here for more FPL game week 1 content. And also don't forget to check out Fantasy Football Hub for that 50% off discount with the first link in the description as well. But if not, I'll see you guys in more FPL 24-25 season content coming very soon. Bye bye.